I'm very excited in this video to be checking out a brand new product just released to the Jeep market, and that is the Diode Dynamics Elite Series headlights for the JL and the Gladiator. I can actually recall before these were released at SEMA, we kind of got a little bit of a heads up, got some spy shots sent to us, and we're like, hey, don't tell anyone, but these are going to be coming out, and we could not wait to get our hands on them. Now with these headlights, there are two options, the Elite and then the Elite Max, and we have got the Elite Max. It's got all the features loaded up into them. If you guys have factory LEDs, these are going to be improvement over those, and if you've got halogen, well, right away these are going to be crazy good for you. We're going to get them installed on the Jeep and see how they look. Let's pop one of these out of here. So we've got the Elite Max, and would you just look at that greatness. The coolest thing that I saw, and you guys might not think it's that cool, but we've actually got the finned driver down below. Now if you guys know headlights, if you've seen them, if you've seen the manufacturing process, these are not cheap to make. I can tell you that. There's not many companies building these. There's not many designing them. And I gotta be honest, there's not many options for the JL and Gladiator that really hold up to what Diode Dynamics has. I know for a lot of you guys, especially if you've really modified your Gladiator or your Wrangler, maybe you did the fender job, maybe you deleted the fenders entirely. These have DRLs and turn signals that are DOT compliant in them that simply plug and play. Where else are you going to find that, as well as an option for you to completely change this, add the off-road light mode? We're going to go over all that once we get them on. Now, full disclosure, Diode Dynamics did hook us up with this set for free. I think they are a great value, though, for the money. And there's a reason I'm swapping the LEDs out for these, not because I want to support my boys at Diode Dynamics, but because I think these are going to look a lot cooler and have a lot more functionality. So once you get the grill removed, we had a couple more steps. I'll be honest, we had to remove our lights, our grill insert. We have a front camera, so that was extra. Now you can remove the headlights. So you're just going to have three 10mm bolts holding these on. And also, if you've got the factory LED headlights, they're pretty valuable. So this will make up a lot of the cost if you do go to sell them. Let's kind of pull this towards me. And we're going to disconnect the headlight. So this has also got the same style driver. This one's actually a lot smaller and just has kind of these cylinders versus the fins, but very reminiscent of an OE headlight. Let's talk about two things here. So first off, Ryan, this is the connector for the actual headlights. So as you can see, all OEM connections on here. This is gonna go into the fender light and tap in and give us all the inputs and outputs that we need. So we have both of these, one for each side. Another cool little piece that they include is actually the headlight adjuster. Now, this is something that we can keep in the glove box. It's got the hex key here, so if we're trying to adjust these up and down to really get a good cutoff line, they do this and made them adjustable because you might have a lifted Jeep. My front end sits higher currently than the back end just because we're waiting on the winch and the bumper, but this you can easily adjust them, throw it in your glove box and keep it. Kudos on Diode for including this, including factory OEM style connections, and everything that you need to make the install really easy. Now, Ryan, I know you're probably going to throw some clips from their full installation video. If you guys want to get a detailed step-by-step on everything you need to do, especially the switch on the inside, definitely watch that full video. It's on Diode's channel, and then subscribe to them too while you're there. All right, guys, so we've got that disconnected underneath here. Now, this side of the connector with the factory style connections is going to go into there. You'll still want to make sure that the red clip is depressed, but they have a really good shot of it. It's honestly, it's a hard shot to get here, but it's going to be right underneath here on the subframe on the actual inner fender structure, and you're just going to plug this in. I love the fact that it's a T-harness. You don't have to do any cutting or splicing. It's going to simply plug in and give you the ability to run the turn signals and running lights right from here. Let's take a look at what we need to do here. It's actually not too complicated unless you make it complicated. So this is the harness that we just plugged in. All right, so we just got that tapped into the back. Now you're gonna see a couple connectors here. This first connector, you can see it's actually just 3 coming out of it, but that's gonna plug into the factory harness. Then the wire that's going to go into the back of the headlight is going to be this one. Now what's funny with this connector, it actually looks the exact same as the JL taillight connectors, which I've pulled apart. So that's going to be plugged in to the back of the headlight. And there's our clip, and we push that down too. So we've got that on there, and then we just have the third connector. This last one, this Deutsch connector, is going to be utilized. There's a crossover wire that I believe it probably gives it one of the DRL functionalities. We're going to run that underneath the radiator cover, and that'll go into there. But let's, there we go. See that? Let me grab the bolts. God, what a risky move, me walking away from it like that. I was about to step in. Not even secured. Don't have to go crazy on these guys, remember. It's just plastic. All right, guys, so the next step in this would be to install this crossover piece that plugs into both of the Deutsch connectors. Now, in our case, this would plug into the fuse tap in the fuse box, and then we would utilize this with our factory aux switches. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've used up almost, well, I have all of them used up right now for my Diode Dynamics lights, so we're going to hold off on this just for a little bit, but what this does is allow you to run those off-road lights, which kind of shoot in a very wide array on the trail. If you don't have the factory aux switches, they do include a physical switch to run inside the cabin. We're not going to do that for right now. I think we're going to hook this up to an S-Pod once we add one because I've quickly run out of available switch panels. Right now, though, we're just going to get both of the headlights plugged in here, get them both functioning, and then show you guys how they look. We're kind of at that point of the install where I do like to do a side-by-side comparison. And we've got the running lights on the factory LED, and then we've got the running lights on the Diode Dynamic Elite Max light. And I can say that kind of changing back and forth, I really am a fan of the Diode Dynamics light. I think it actually matches very well with the DRL on the fender light. A second ago, I told you about that crossover wire just controlling the off-road lights. Well, it turns out that also controls the memory that's built in to the welcome sequence and then also remembering the last program light availability. So we are going to run that across. It's just a quick Deutsch connector, and then we're not going to put the off-road light on there, but we're just going to tap it into the fuse tap. So a real quick modification before we get everything buttoned up. That way we can have these lights functioning perfectly for the time being. Then we're going to go outside and really try out these lights and see what they have to offer. So as you can see, we've got the amber set up, the amber ring around here with the two sidebars on. This looks absolutely sick. I mean, I gotta tell you guys, the integration of these lights and the fact that everything works, it's plug and play with no modification made, this is awesome. So I'm gonna hop in, let's go through and we'll change these up so you can actually see what they look like and go through that sequence a bit. All right, we're gonna change it, guys. All you have to do is hit the headlight stalk. So that's setting number 2. 3, so that should, is that just the ring with no sidebars? That should be amber, just the ring, no sidebars. All white. All amber. Just white ring. Just amber ring. And then back, this is the first setting. So, and then to leave it on the setting, I just turn the lights off. And then I can fire the Jeep up. And now I've got the white running lights. And then when I go to hit this turn signal, but also what that was doing too. So I'm going to shut the lights completely off, shut the Jeep off. There we go. All right, so we'll shut it off like that. And then Ryan, keep it right there and I'll do that startup sequence. Okay. You ready?
Yep. That's so cool.
What a flex, bro. Are you serious? I wonder what happens if I remote start it. Blinded. Oh yeah, nice running lights. Matches that perfectly. So you can kind of see the beam pattern on the garage door wall. We are going to adjust these a little bit later once it's not so dang cold out. But you can see the crisp cutoff line of a projector style light. You can see it gives that nice, just a little bit of a bluish tint there, but that's what you get with the projector. That's what those big drivers are for underneath and why we need to cool them. Let's show you the high beams. So as you can see, definitely a lot taller. I am more than likely going to have to adjust these sooner than later, but an absolute ton of light going on here. So check this out, guys. If you wanted a little bit more safety while you're driving, or maybe you're pulled over, there's an emergency hazard on the road, look at this from the front side. You can see every mailbox down this street. Ryan, if you turn, all the reflectors, look at that. So it is definitely letting people know that you are here, something's going on. A ton of light output with these, and just overall really cool DRL. Let's shut those off, and here we can actually show just the right turn signal going. So that's what I said, if you guys have the fender chops and you don't have any turn signals anymore, there you go. Now you got your turn signals back, and they're DOT approved. So you really cannot beat that feature with this headlight. So if you guys did a fender chop and you're worried about what lights to get, pick these up, and now you don't need to get fender lights. You're done all in one stop. Well guys, that's going to be a wrap on today's video. We actually hopped back in the Jeep just to talk a little bit. It is freezing outside. It's still wintertime here in PA, but hopefully it's going to warm up pretty soon. We've been waiting a little while to do this installation just because we wanted to find the right time where we could do it, install them, and then have dusk come so we could really check out what these lights had to offer. This wasn't a full installation, but I gave you some of the tips while we were doing it. If you want to see a super detailed one, go on Diode Dynamics YouTube page, hit the subscribe button, and then watch the video on there if you do pick up these lights. Overall, I am extremely pleased with them. I think they are a great addition to this Jeep, and really they match the Diode Dynamics that I have going on the rest of the vehicle. Those DRL features, I think I'm going to get a ton of use out of, and I can't wait to try those off-road lights out as soon as I find an open switch where I can install them. I want you guys also to drop me a comment down below. What lights do you have on your rig? What have you been running? And if you've got halogen or LEDs, definitely think about upgrading to these. Let me know what you think about them, if you think the features are worth it. I personally do, but drop a comment below and let's chat. With that being said, my name is Matt with Dirt Road CRED. Until next time, get out there and earn yours.